Jordan's definitely an OG on the set, but David, you wanted to jump in?
Just real quick, I think even when some of the rooms got tedious and, we had like 3 months of what I call 3 months of Kanye here, and I never imagined, I guess I don't want to go back to this, but how much not baggage, but hurt people carry and don't let go of, and also hold on to things that may or may not be true. And after a few hours, and after the largest voices went away, the people who stayed could really talk and learn from each other, and those were valuable nights.
I think there's still large voices. I'm sorry, Shay, I skipped over you. My problems. I'm going to come to you in a second. One of the things I don't understand is I'm literally down the center when it comes to politics. I believe I am. Other people disagree with that assessment. But how people get so personal over somebody's political party. Like, I don't give a fuck if you're Republican. I could care less if you're a Democrat. But we pick our politicians like we pick our sports teams. Go ahead, Shay.
Hey, JB, you just said something that reminded me of something I used to say over in the preservation. All of our different differences won't make a difference when the people who are coming against all of our different differences have us lined up with different numbers on the same colored jumpsuit. So at the end of the day, we have to put those differences aside in order to make a difference in the world that we like to call home. Which leads me to this. What made Clubhouse great was the communities that we were able to build up. Sitting in the community with Mike and Rob and some of the other folks who aren't here right now over in the preservation, out in real life, doing my real life thing with my real life family. On the occasion, people would hear my voice and they would approach me and they're like, I know you. And I'm looking at them like, no, you don't. I'm like, I follow you on Instagram, but I heard you on Clubhouse. You won't believe the things that you said that helped me and my family do ... Whether it was helping them make the informed decision for themselves, whether to take the jab or not take the jab. If they chose not to take the jab, we're helping them get the paperwork necessary that they needed to secure their employment. Whether it was popping in to one of the survival sustainable rooms, understanding what a bug out bag is, what you should put in, what you shouldn't put into it, or more so specifically narrow down to my niche. Homesteading and gardening. Shay, you helped me get my garden started, blah, blah, blah. So we've all made, can't say we all, but I would hope to say a good chunk of us have made a impactful difference in society by way of having the opportunity to hold a green bean or, have an opportunity to have the mic and say what we need to say. Some of us have really actually touched lives to some of the people out here in the Goop. And to me, that's what made Clubhouse great. I helped somebody else improve their life by way of Clubhouse.
I love that shit, because I say it all the time. I hate the word influencer. We're all influencers. You get something, you resonate with somebody in the chat that you have no idea that you resonated with them. You can change people's lives. I know I have. I know other people should have. Kristen, yeah, Kristen.
Yeah. So I just remembered. Do y'all remember those humans that were trying to get so many followers that did MLMs and were like, this just reminded me of like, we want to help you. I'm not talking about you, Shane. I'm talking about people who are no longer on here. We're trying to get like over 20,000. Yeah, we get 20,000 followers because they did some stupid MLM thing. They had some money in it. Good God. Not that it killed Clubhouse, but it was like that was, ugh.
Yeah, no, that definitely did kill Clubhouse. Follow me, follow your moderators, Now, one thing that I said when I was, top left, don't follow me. Follow everybody else in the space. Follow the people that you want to resonate with, because if you follow me, you're probably going to change your life. So, yeah, hearing constantly every other, speaker, follow your moderator.
Make sure you follow the room.
Yeah.
Hold on. Respectfully, saying "don't follow me" is a backdoor way of asking people to follow you.
I really didn't want people following me because I went into spaces that people probably be like, what the f is she doing in here? Like, I really didn't
What
want people
spaces were you going into? Were you like hanging out in the BDS rooms? What were you doing that you didn't want people following you?
Roger, I can't tell you that. Look, Roger, what happens at Clubhouse After Dark stays on Clubhouse After Dark.
I'm just saying I want the invite. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm glad you're back, Mojo. Before I go to First Lady, Mojo, CEO, wanted to have a dialogue with you. CEO, are you there?
I am, yeah. So,
Yeah,
so Roger, in response to you saying America's the least racist country, I agree with you, but I think it's also the most racist country. So, it's racist and intolerant simultaneously. It's racist and intolerant simultaneously. I'll tell you why. It's the most racist and most tolerant. Here's why. There's no other country on the earth that could have the amount of diversity America does without completely imploding. So that's where I agree with you. It's the most racist for the same reason, in the sense that when 40% of your population is different than the main population, that creates a lot of tension, a lot of challenges, problems. So that's why I say it's.
Okay, well, I'm not going to argue that point. I think that one of the there's two very disappointing things that happen when we discuss race on this app, and that was what I had said, because people love to talk about race on this app. And here's the two disappointing things. You have one camp that doesn't want to acknowledge that there was historical injustices, and I think those people are idiots. However, there's a more dangerous group of people, and those are the people that don't want to recognize that there's been progress that's been made, and in fact, that we've gone out of our way to make sure that we rid ourselves of laws that would discriminate against people. And I think the lack of acknowledgement of the progress that we've made, like, for example, I did a room one day, and we were talking about is the country less racist in 2025 than it was in 1960? And then people would say, no, which is just fucking absurd, right? Then I would ask those same people, okay, well, is it less racist than it was in 1860? And then they would say, no. And so this is the problem. You have people that literally live for stirring up racial tension. And if you can't acknowledge that there's been progress, then you are the problem.
Thank you, Mojo. CEO, did you want to push back on that, or am I moving on?
No, I agree. I agree with that. I think Roger, when like people don't acknowledge the progress from 1960 to 1860, then that's just disqualifying them from having a reasonable conversation.
Thank you. Take it, Rob. I got you. Give me a second. I have to say hello to the First Lady, because she's my friend, and I like her. What's up, First Lady?
JB, how are you?
Oh, great. So for those you don't know, Lady G, First Lady, she wants to trade greenhouse, called politically correct, current CEO, always in there. So follow her if you want to have a great conversation. So, First Lady, what makes Clubhouse great?
Well, I mean, obviously, you and me, right? I'm First Lady of Clubhouse. I gave my name, I gave myself that name, not Clubhouse. Anyway, what makes it great is the ability to meet so many people all across the globe. People can dial in from Kuwait, from the Middle East, from Egypt. I've met so many different people, and what makes it great for me is being able to connect and have conversations, spread love, spread light, spread joy. Those are the wonderful things that I enjoy about Clubhouse, and I think that is what makes it great. And in addition to that, what makes it great is continuously building community, no matter where you are. The more I know about someone else, it allows me to find the empathy in conversation. I may not agree with you, but I can find why or understand or try to understand why you feel that way. And then move on. Finding different perspectives of different people's thoughts just helps me to live a better, well-rounded, balanced life. So thank you.
Thank you, First Lady. There's a few people on this app, quite a few people. I'm still trying to understand the perspective 5 years later. But let me say good morning to Tomato. Tomato, what's up?
Hey, I'm from Living. That's what Rogers. I think it's not the right room to have an in-depth discussion. And for me, Clubhouse is great because it brings together people from different economic classes that don't interact. America is very, very, very segregated based on your economic class, based on your education level. And Clubhouse is the only venue I know of where people can break those bonds and communicate personally.
Thank you, Tomato. Guys, we're going to go pop us out, grab the mic. All I ask is that you respect the one mic policy. So we're going to go pop us out.
I know First Lady still owes me dinner, so I'm gonna hold her to that until she pays up. I'm not gonna call her the First Lady of Clubhouse. She just hasn't followed through.
These are lies, Brad.
Wait, hold on. You're not paying your debt, First Lady? I'm shocked.
I'm shocked as well. You know, I went and I drove all the way to where Brad is and told him to meet me at the restaurant, and he never showed up. So now he's saying that
Wait a second, hold on.
Yes,
Brad,
he stood me up. He stood me up.
You ghosted First Lady, Brad?
Yep.
Well, to be fair, I received a call from the President of the United States, and he needed me in the Situation Room, and so I had to just quickly cancel you. You can't turn down the President of the United States.
I'm turning it down for Chi, I can tell you that.
I have a question for Chief. Chief, is your room, remind me, is that where they have this silly woman by the name of Sin as a moderator in there? Is that the room?
I don't know if I consider it as being silly, but there is someone there by the name of Sam that is cool.
Okay, so I was in that room one day, and no disrespect to you, but maybe it was just a bad day, but it was like, when we talk about what's killing Clubhouse, that was one of the experiences. This woman was talking about, government programs this, government programs that, and then I just simply talked about private charity or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then she gets into this on her high horse about how she does all this work. And then I go, oh, that's interesting. I go, why don't you, I called her out. I said, why don't you put your private charity that you just spoke about in the chat, and I'll make a donation. And instead of posting it, she actually removed me from the room. I think that was an admission that she actually wasn't doing anything. And so I would say that the people that are in some of these rooms, and I'm not calling you out, but because it happens everywhere, but there are some people that are just completely fucking fraudulent, and they make these claims I'm out there doing work, I'm building community, and it's really? Well, why don't you post this fucking work that you're doing, and I will support it. I'm a very generous person. If she would have posted it, I legit would have given her $500 to whatever charity it was. I wouldn't have even cared if I disagreed with it, because I would have been impressed that somebody's actually telling the truth, that they're doing something in their community. I think most of the people on this app are full of shit when they talk about that, and she's a prime example of somebody that's a complete fucking...
My recollection of that day isn't quite the same, Roger. I do agree that you got thrown out of a room in a rude way, and I disagree with it, and I pushed back on it on stage, but it wasn't for that reason. It was more so that, she was giving you a certain level of energy. You were giving some of that energy back, which I thought was fair, but then, yeah, you got thrown out for it. So, I agree you were thrown out incorrectly. I don't agree with you.
How come she didn't post her charity?
Privacy reasons. Some people just don't like sharing anything that's going to allow you to connect them to who they are off of the app.
It's not a very good
People just like
fundraiser.
to stay private.
Yeah,
Because you don't want to fundraise on Clubhouse, don't you? You don't want to fundraise on Clubhouse.
Well, no, but she brought it up. If she wanted the privacy about it, why did she? See, this is.
She didn't name it though, right? She didn't name the nonprofit.
No, she's like, I'm out there doing work. I'm doing this, and I'm like, yeah, show me. And then, no, can't. Listen, I honestly, I think women like that make these fucking asinine claims. I guarantee that bitch is on a couch eating Doritos with crumbs all over her fucking shirt. She ain't fucking put on no fucking work boots in a fucking minute. She was so full of shit. Like, they get on here on Clubhouse and they talk about doing work. They're not doing fucking work. They're running their fucking mouth.
Yeah, I was in that room too. I was in that room too.
Oh,
I think
Lord.
that was too hard. I'm gonna disagree. I'm not gonna let that.
Hold on a second, Mike. Let me just say this. I'm still more shocked that Brad would ghost First Lady. I mean, he's just what is wrong with some of you people? That's what's wrong with Clubhouse.
I know Mike wants to speak. I'll speak after Mike. Go ahead.
I was in that room too, and I agree that they were giving each other a little bit of shit. But her fear of being called out for the fact that she said she ran a charity, and then her inability to say what it was palpable. Like when he called her out, and I said, "Well, really, what is it?" It was like she was surprised to hear that question, and I think she was totally full of shit. So there's one more.
Okay, so that's the beauty of living in America. That is the beauty of Clubhouse. We all are entitled to our opinions. And just because you have an opinion, or just because you have a feeling about something, doesn't make it factual. It just means that that's your perception of it. And that's what I was speaking about just recently. Who knows why she didn't provide the information? It could have been just because it was a heated conversation leading up to that. She didn't feel trust from you. And then probably thought that you were trying to show her out, and then that's the reason why they removed you. But yeah, such is life. I don't know why you had to call her the B word and say that she eating Doritos on the couch and getting crumbs all in between. But, to each his own.
Yeah, but those are words. Those aren't going to hurt anybody. I mean, like,
That's the thing, bruh. I mean, Mojo, words do hurt.
No. I come from a generation where we had a saying that sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. And I think the generation that said that words are violence are part of the fucking problem.
First Lady, you gave one option. First Lady just gave one option of why she could have been unwilling to say it. That is a possibility, right? You said opinions, everybody has an opinion. It's true, everybody does. But when somebody makes a claim and they're unwilling to back it up with proof, I can't give them the benefit of the doubt anymore, because there's too many liars, especially on Clubhouse. If she's going to use her charity as an example of her altruism, then I'm going to look for a tangible example to believe it exists. And if she's unwilling to do that, I'm not going to default to, she probably has one and she just doesn't want to collect funds right now for Roger. I'm not going to default to that. Common sense is going to tell me, I'm not really sure she's telling the truth. And if somebody else can raise their hand and say, no, I can give evidence she has a charity, she just doesn't want to say the name of it, that's fine. But I haven't heard anyone in here say that she has a charity and that she just didn't want to name it because she somehow told you she has one. What I hear is a bunch of people giving her excuses for not providing evidence of what she was claiming, and until I find out that there's some testimonial out there that this charity exists, I'm going to default personally, because I use common sense and critical thinking, to that concept that there's a more than likely chance she's full of shit, and there's a small chance that she has a charity that needs money that she was unwilling to say in a public forum amongst a bunch of supporters, that even if Roger didn't want to give her money, somebody else in the room might have. And furthermore, I'm going to assume she would have mentioned this charity some other time by name in a smaller group setting where Roger wasn't personally asking her for proof. That
wait a
Other
second,
people
Mike.
could raise their hands and said, oh, she has one.
Mike, hold on a second. Why are we dragging this lady? Hey, she's not here to defend herself.
Because I was here, it was ridiculous, and I like dragon
Let me
flyers.
finish.
I like dragon flyers.
Mike, okay, but we don't know if she's alive. And I'm gonna say why. Maybe she didn't want to give the name for self-preservation reasons, because we know that people make the worst out of everything on this app, right?
It's a non-profit. What are you talking about? If she really ran a non-profit, she should be screaming it from the rooftops to get support. Somebody offered to fund it, and she didn't fucking offer it. She was completely full of shit. In that moment, maybe she wouldn't have given it. In that very moment, when
Can I
she was
finish,
telling,
please? Can I
if she
finish,
would have
please?
told somebody
Can I
else
finish?
what happened.
Can I finish, please? Can I finish, please? Thank you. Thank you. That's all I asked. People weaponize everything on this fucking app. And maybe she was just defending herself. Maybe she doesn't utilize this. I don't know Sid that well. I just know her from the rooms at Shell. I don't know her life. I'm not gonna stand, but she's not here. She wants to come in and stand on a square. That's her business. This is one of the problems. Hold on, Roger. Please let me finish. This is one of the problems with this app. Is that people want to weaponize things, but without context of why she's not doing it. Why does she have to answer to any of us, first of all? Look ahead, Roger.
If she'll bring her lion ass into this room right now, I'll look into 1,000.
I'll take it another 100.
Okay.
Wow.
Brad, you want to kick it too?
No, I've got burned on this app so many times with charities. There was a woman who had breast cancer that was losing her house, and I gave several thousand to that one. Let's see, what was the other one? Yeah, that turned out to be fake.
Don't forget the African wolves.
Oh yeah. I mean, I do find it odd. I will say this. I find it odd that somebody would promote a charity, considering the number of fucking charities and foundations that have been asked for, and the amount of money that has going, including a woman who said her son was missing on the app, and he was kidnapped or something along those lines, and they were raising funds to help get private detectives. I kicked in for that one. I felt terrible because as a parent, I would burn the world down to find my kids. There would be no one safe in the entire world. Friend, family, it wouldn't matter until I found my kids. So, I couldn't imagine the pain that was going through.
Brad, I kicked into that one too.
Yeah, whenever I hear charity now, and I have to hand it off to KK, she made me promise that if I ever give anybody money on this app, I have to match that amount to her equally, because she'll give it to a charity she runs. And I'm kind of like, all right, and I kind of pulled back. We've helped out a lot of people. I bought wheelchairs, paid for an organ transplant. Like, I know a lot of you don't know much about that, but there's a lot of fees and transportation costs. Fucking donated thousands of dollars to that, and that woman was at least real. At least she was getting the service, and she was so grateful, and she posted everything and her recovery and all that stuff. It was fantastic. Like, hats off to it. But there's just been a lot of fucking fake charities, fake GoFundMes, like whatever it is. I'm just kind of weird now. I'm with everybody else. I don't agree with Mike often. I agree with him in this stance. I think it's just our experience on Clubhouse.
Thank you.
May I ask one more question? Just and then we can change the subject about this. But for those of you that were in that room, if you could just tell me if I'm lying or even exaggerating about what happened, call me out on that. And if I was telling it 100% how it happened, go ahead and indicate that too. Keep me honest.
All right. You want to speak? Well, let me just say this. Since what makes Clubhouse great? Marshall Rankin makes this Clubhouse great. Marshall's one of the most underappreciated people on this app. And he always brings knowledge, respect, and courtesy, man. Marshall, I can't even tell you how much I appreciate you. I had a personal issue in real life, and I reached out to Marshall, and this is on my children. The man didn't hesitate to help me. It had nothing to do with money, by the way. So before people say I asked for money, it had nothing to do with money. But Marshall is the real one, and he's a great human being. How you doing, Marshall?
Before Marshall speaks, I want to jump in on that. Out of all the people in Clubhouse, I think I'm tough. Maybe it's, just, ego or whatever it is you're going through. I've gone through a lot in life. I think I'm a tough man. I think, I'm the pagan Vikingist, or I like to call me, and all this stuff. I'm going to say Marshall is probably tougher than I am, because that man has gotten abuse from everybody, keeps it smiling, keeps it moving, and bullets don't penetrate him, man. He's fucking Superman on the set. He is tough. He does it with aplomb. He does it with grace. He does it with kindness and measures. And even when him and I have gotten back and forth in it, still love the guy. Get me pissed off at him for a while, but I still love the guy, and I think everybody just ought to, including myself, take a step back and breathe once in a while, because Marshall's never meant to harm a single person on the set, and he loves his set more than anybody else on it.
I agree with that. Marshall, good morning.
I really appreciate that. Good morning. How are y'all doing?
You're here something to do with civil rights. You want to chime in on what makes Clubhouse great?
I think at its best, it's the ability to have a conversation that expands one's mind and makes somebody more humble. At its worst, it's a mix between Montel Williams and Jerry. Montel Williams and Warren Povich, but at its best, it allows people to have conversations instead of debates, and humans are just more likely to pick up good information in a discussion that's not a contest. If it's a contest, we tend to not get as much out of it. So I think the ability to meet people from all across the world and see their view, right? I have some pretty interesting American imperial views, but I've met some people from the UK. I've met a dude from Serbia, and some of the way I think about foreign policy, for example, is a little bit different than when I started. It's at its best, it allows me to grow as a person. At its worst, it's a gossip machine on steroids.
Thank you, Marshall. I'm going to introduce the next speaker. Out in London, I'm not stating what my rules, but talking debates. Anything that might be yours.
Hey Marshall, man. I just want to, give you your flowers as well. You're definitely, a shining point of light. Amazing dude. Mojo, Roger, as hard as they come, man, and got nothing but the utmost respect for that dude. He'll get down in the weeds. He'll go hard, and he'll fight for his point. He will debate anybody. He never runs. He's stand-up guy, man. Stand-up guy. Just there's so many people I can't even speak to everyone on the app, but I love people that can stand on their square, express their idea without having to run. So to all everybody that applies to, God bless you.
I'll post that very lengthy lecture.
I want to say something to Anthony that I don't think I've ever said out loud, but there is a lot of people on this app that have opinions that don't fit a popular narrative, whether it's for the room, whether it's for the app, whether it's society at large. Anthony is probably the most consistent person that I've heard on this app. That doesn't mean I agree with everything. He and I have argued about a lot of shit, but I appreciate consistency. That's when you can test conviction, is when somebody is consistent. They don't code switch depending on what rooms they're in. Anthony has a narrative that infuriates people, and it would be very easy if he wanted to make friends to just, he could cut the corner
layers off of it and make it a little like easier for people to digest. And he just speaks his mind. And like again, I think he's wrong about some things, but I really do appreciate people like Anthony, and I hope he continues to do that on and off.
Hey Mojo, I gotta go pick up my dog from the groomer. You wanna keep it open?
Yeah, let's keep it open for. I'm gonna go a little later today. I'm gonna be driving some supercars, so I won't be on here all day today. But yeah, we can keep it going.
All right, catch you guys later.
What inspired the title today? Were you guys? Was anybody in that room yesterday? The debate, the Bills room. Like, it got pretty big.
Well, I'll walk you through the history of it. So, a couple of days ago, Lou Fax, who I think is one of the best moderators this app has ever had, ran a room talking about, Clubhouse reunion, and some people returned to it. And then grifter-ass John Bing, who's never had an original thought in his fucking entire life, ran a room in Debate the News. And I'm not personally attacking him, other than just observations of truth and statements of facts are not like a problem. And so Jonathan Bing's just a big no talent that has, that tries to draft off other people's momentum. He did that for years with Jerry Malcolm. Then he momentum with what Lou does. And so he started a room saying, Clubhouse reunion, you people are the ones that ruined it. Well, talking about ruining it, Jonathan Bing single-handedly ruined Chatter. And so there's kind of been a theme that's gone on. Yesterday there was a room, on a similar topic after Bing's, and now we're doing this. I think we're going to talk this thing to death, but I'm in the camp that Clubhouse isn't necessarily dead, it's just irrelevant. It's just past its prime. It's kind of like, when an NFL player retires, they struggle to find relevance. Like one or two of them will get broadcasting gigs, a few more might go into coaching. But for the most part, people just go home and they're no longer an athlete and they just get fat. And I think that's what happens.
Shark project.
Yeah. Jumping the shark is a good way to look at it. Although I think I would re-examine the old jump in the shark thing. People say that Happy Days went downhill because of Fonzie, on water skis jumping over the shark. But I would submit that when Richie Cunningham left, Ron Howard left the show, that's when the show went to hell. And the Jump in the Shark episode was not the worst Happy Days episode. I don't know if you guys remember, but Mork from Mork, Robin Williams, appeared in their town and showed up at Arnold's place. So I would say that was the moment when that show was over. And I also think that a better comparison of when a show is over, rather than the Fonzie Jump in the Shark, would be when Cousin Oliver joined the cast of the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, man. I love your references. That's crazy that you remember that. I didn't even know that Mark showed up over the Happy Days. I had no idea. That's interesting. But I'm cool with Clubhouse and its current iteration. Like, I'm cool with the couple of rooms that actually do the. You don't need huge spaces. Like, some of the best stations I've had in Clubhouse might have been 3 or 4 or 5 people in it. Like, there's some people that they view their importance or the importance of a room by its ability to draw a crowd, and I don't necessarily, agree. I think the biggest thing that benefited Clubhouse early on was the pandemic, obviously. Right place, right time. And, there's people just would stay on this app for days at a time, just nonstop. But, there's certain spaces that it's like a virtual cheers. Like, You go there, it's all like virtual family. Like you pull up your chair, you talk shit about the current events, and then you have some people that just bang in the chat.
So, Anthony, let me engage with you on this because you said something really important, and I want to admit to something. You were talking about big rooms not really being, the high quality, and I can say this, like as I look at this stage, Mike Animatronic has ran some of the biggest rooms that this app has ever had consistently. Peak Healthy Debates, we used to get 1,000, 1,500 people in that room at peak, and Preservation also would do those numbers on a consistent basis. In fact, when you had the numbers to support that. And I will say that when they start piling in, there's a feeling as a moderator where you start thinking like, oh man, the room's popping. And then what you do is you optimize for the size of the room. And as a moderator, I think that when we were optimizing for size of the room, the quality wasn't as good. And I think over time you start recognizing that, like, what are we doing here? And then you start making some pivots. And I think that Electronic would probably agree with me on this, is that if you stay true to the topic and just have a format, whatever it might be, you might have popcorn style, you might go, PTR order, just even these terms, right, that we use. If you have a culture in your room that you stay true to, you'll find an audience that belongs there, and then you'll find the people that really don't fit that culture. And I would just say, to your point, a big room is not the measurement. The quality of the conversation is the measurement, and if that leads to a big room, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And the way that the rooms used to get big was twofold. One of them was if you were saying zany shit, or if there was an argument, people were paying their friends. That was one of the things. The other thing was they used to have people that had a gazillion followers. So back in Healthy Debates, if Eric Weinstein thought the conversation was interesting and he decided to join the stage, boom, instantly 800 people would join the room the moment he starts speaking, because it was a signal to everybody. That didn't necessarily mean it was the best room. In fact, oftentimes the conversation was better before Eric Weinstein jumped into it. And so I would say, moving forward, we as moderators, I would submit, don't try to optimize for size of the room. Try to optimize for the quality of.
Absolutely.
I really feel like, thank you. I appreciate it, man. To be honest with you, I feel like you shouldn't have more than 3 moderators in a room at a time. I think it creates a culture of bullying, and it really deters from the conversation the more moderators you have in a room. I think when I think about anything that I've ever seen in real life where there was a moderator involved, like a presidential debate or some type of debate, you never see 8 or 9 moderators in anything in real life. It just doesn't make sense to me why you would have 9 people on stage that are moderate, and it takes away from the good conversation that could be had if you weren't playing personality games.
Well, Jamal, you're making a good point. There's rooms on this app, and I don't need to call them out by name, but you guys would know. Their shtick was like, we'll mod everybody, and then by handing out these participation trophies as a social currency, the people would then, they would be more likely to ping people, because it's like, oh, look at me, I'm in a big room and I've got the green bean. And I will say, I've kind of reverted back to, like, because I just don't care about the size of the room anymore. I'll mod people because I like them. That's not the best way to do it. I will say that the highest quality rooms ever that I personally ran, and I'm not saying that I run the highest quality of rooms. I The people that I admire would be people like Ned, if you guys remember him. I thought his rooms were amazing. I think Lou Fax's rooms are amazing. But I personally, when I would run my best rooms, is when I was a solo mod. That way, if somebody got moved down, they knew that I did it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is a key point of having but then there's another piece to it that makes a room good, and that is a moderator kind of pulling his hands and letting conversation flow. A lot of times when you have the one or two moderators and they're micromanaging the conversation, that fucks up conversation too. I think there is another good mod who I kind of found it very interesting how he monetized Clubhouse, and that is the home. I think that young guy understood the monetization of it, and I thought that was very interesting. The way that he I think he said he got it from Dr. I forget his name, but yeah, I think that
I got a different opinion on the monetization. Look, I'm a capitalist, and if you want to make your money that way, that's fine. But I would also argue that, trying to make money off the broke asses that are sitting around on Clubhouse is probably not the best strategy in life. I would say that utilize this for entertainment. If you do find a way to make money on it, that's cool. If that's your thing. For me, I think it's gay as fuck if somebody's got a Cash App in their bio. I think it's gay as fuck if they think that you need to tip them for being there. Look, if you don't want to participate in the conversation, like the idea, the audacity of people thinking that opening a room makes them a content creator. This app doesn't have content creators. We have facilitators of conversation.
But when you are able to leverage the thought of people not liking another person on stage, that I thought was genius. Well, whereas I don't like you, and because I don't like Anthony, I'll pay $10 just so he won't be on the stage with me. That was genius. And I think that part of it, I really haven't seen anybody really, and I thought that was pretty interesting. So that's all I have to say about it. But I don't mind where we're at right now with Clubhouse. I think that the conversations and the people's mindset needs to kind of expand a little bit. I'll land it right there.
I think landing a plane is the best part of Clubhouse.
Yeah, I'd like to chime in on the title.
Was the person that came up with this saying, "You're in the Matrix," which yes, it's look, people make some dumb claims, but that guy, like, if you have no value, like he doesn't even have 50. That on this app.
The other thing is, all of us here that ran rooms and countless lives because we were able to identify a smoke detector that needed a battery replacement. So I really good. That made me feel like it's something positive.
Can I just give 3 quick anecdotes about my experience with Clubhouse?
Please do.
One is that I think I am the most kicked person of all time in Clubhouse history. I've been kicked from more rooms than anybody else. 2, I've had more Clubhouse accounts, profiles than anybody else on this app. And 3, I think the anonymous feature on this app, I could have played a big role, or I did play a big role in the developers and the managers, because they probably have received hundreds, if not thousands, of complaints with regards to my activity on this app, listening and recording people making really asinine, stupid, low IQ comments, not based on intelligence or science, but purely based on horrific political positions and propaganda distribution. So, if
Hey, American Party, how many accounts do you think I was responsible for having removed from the app of yours?
maybe like 3, 4, 5, something like that.
I remember you